Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and it's that time of the, expansion, or this time mini set cycle, where we take a look at some stats, and we all know what, like, the best cards are from the latest mini set, Fall of Ulduar, I never say it properly. But what are the worst cards? What are the worst of the worst? What were they thinking style of cards? And we'll take a look statistically at what the bottom 10 cards are so far from the mini set. And if you enjoy the content on the channel, you feel like I've earned your subscription, please hit that sub button down below. Give the video a like, it helps us out a ton. These numbers are taken from HS Replay, sorted through the last 2 weeks. Basically, the mini set's been out for just about 2 weeks and is through Diamond through Legend and sorted by deck win rate. As it's not the best indicator of how powerful a card is, but it's what we go with. Is Mulligan, played win rate, have their own style, and drawn win rate. We're going with deck win rate. And starting off, we're not going to go with number 10. We're going honorable mention, because I can't believe it's not top 10, but I think it might have to do with how little it's played. Curse of Flesh is 11th. Believe it or not, the card where you basically just spend a mana to let your opponents play their minions for health instead of mana is at 0.09% of decks, deck win rate of 44.7%, and played 500 times. That's it. The least played card on this list, even though it's not on the list, but I think that is probably what, like, who is playing this card? Like, you gotta be mad. And even then, nobody playing it, still 11th for those brave few that have tried. Anyways, starting off at number 10, a card that I think has at least a shot in Wild. It doesn't really work in Standard. I've done some crazy OTKs with it in Wild. Is Encroaching Insanity, another Warlock card in 0.6% of decks. Has a 44.2% deck win rate and has been played 8,700 times. The second most of any card on this list. I think Fatigue Warlock's trying it, and also there's an achievement for it. And yeah, both players take fatigue damage twice, so you can ramp this up with your own stuff, go with like a crescendo, but overall not enough support in Standard to really make this card work, whereas in Wild you have like Tamsin, can actually make it pretty darn crazy burst. I've done, like I said, I've done some pretty crazy OTKs, and it isn't the worst thing in the world there, but in Standard, just not enough synergies. Next at number 9, we have the Priest card that I revealed, Shadow Touched Cavaldir, a 1-mana 1/3 undead. Battle Cry, your next healing effect deals damage instead. It's in 0.2% of decks, 43.8% deck win rate, has been played 1,900 times. It doesn't really fit into, like, you know, the aggro undead priest, because it's not really doing anything. You're not running healing cards there, so it's got to be its own like build around, and there's not enough good healing effects to really utilize it. It's a one-time effect, so, you know, using your flash heal or that 3-mana heal 8 overheal card just isn't enough to really put this card over the top. So as a result, it is number 9. At number 8, this one kind of shocks me. Okay, maybe not shock me, but shock me. Shock Hopper, a 1-mana 1/2 elemental beast, 4 shaman. Battle Cry, get a random overload card. It's in 0.1% of decks, has a deck win rate 43.5%, and has been played 2,300 times. The only overload shaman deck out there right now is like the OTK one, and they reliably want consistent cards or spells that synergize with overload. This does neither. Really good arena card, I'll tell you that much. Insane in arena, but in terms of ladder, just doesn't make the cut in this list, and shaman isn't exactly thriving in Standard. The best decks are like Totem Shaman, which don't run this, as well as the Overload Shaman, which again doesn't run it. It just doesn't have enough synergy. At number 7, we have the Demon Hunter card, Serenite Shambler, 2-mana 2/3 elemental battle cry. If you cast 5 or more spells this game, give your hero +4 attack this turn. Is in 0.2% of decks, has a deck win rate of 42.9%, and has been played 2,300 times. I will say, this is one of the few cards on this list that has a positive played win rate of 50.1%. When it's played, you win. So the card itself probably isn't that bad, but Demon Hunter, this archetype, this draw archetype in Standard, has not worked whatsoever. We'll see a bit more signs of that later. Literally every Demon Hunter card is on this list, and yeah, Demon Hunter is the worst ranked class in Standard across all ranks. They do have playable decks. Relic and Outcast are both solid decks, but this new stuff that they keep trying to push is not working. And for someone that can't stand Demon Hunter and has seen Demon Hunter dominate almost its entire existence, I'm not really losing any sleep over it. At number 6, we have the Eye of Chaos, the neutral epic, a 5-mana 5/4 Battle Cry. Get 2 1/1 chaotic tendrils. It is a 1.7% of decks. Deck win rate of 42.6%. Has been played 23,000 times. By far the most played card from this list, and it's because it gives you tendrils and people like spamming tendrils. The issue with the card is it's not a good tendril card. It is way too expensive. 5 mana for an understated minion in today's game has to be insane to see play, and it just gives you 2 tendrils. And even in Rogue, where you can like shadow step it, it's not worth it. You just rather get Yogg, fill your hand, and fill it with tendrils, right? So it doesn't really fit into any current deck, and people like playing it because they like tendrils, but overall, it's just not a great card. At number 5, we have another Demon Hunter card that I don't think is a bad card. It just doesn't have a place right now. Sigil of Time. 3-mana Fel spell. At the start of your next turn, draw 3 additional cards. It is in 0.4% of decks. Has a deck win rate of 42.3% and has been played 5,600 times, so quite a lot. In Wild, pretty good with the the whole quest line where you draw, and that's basically a guaranteed tick for you. That's really good, but there's, again, no payoff like that in Standard. It just doesn't work out so well, and as a result, that archetype is struggling, which, again, we'll see with the last card, which is not number 1, but it's pretty high up on the list. At number 4, we have one of the worst Deathlight cards of all time, Sinister Soul Cage, a 4-mana shadow spell. Give a friendly undead +2/+2, so that's terrible. You spend 5 corpses, you get a copy of it. 0.1% of decks. It has got a deck win rate of 40.7% and has been played only 870 times. What are you doing with this? It's too expensive, way too conditional. Maybe if they gave a friendly undead +4/+4 like a Blessing of Kings, maybe it would see play, but as a result, you're getting very little stat buff. It has to be an undead, and you have to have 5 corpses for it, making it really, really situational and just not very good. At number 3, we have another Shaman card. By the way, all the Shaman cards are on this list too. All 2 classes have 3 cards on this. It's crazy. Conductivity, a 2-mana spell, nature spell. The next spell you cast this turn also targets adjacent minions. 0.1% of decks, 39.7% deck win rate, 1,400 times played. Outside of Jive Insect, what are you really doing with this card? And that's 7 mana. It's way too slow, and you gotta have minions on the board, right? Like, there's just not enough spells that you want to multi-target. In Wild, you have like the 1-mana Frost spell that draws a card and freezes a target. This would be 3-mana draw 3. That'd be pretty good, right? This card can be good. It just needs more support. There's not enough targeted spells that are really worth it outside of Jive Insect, or maybe if you want to try and get some big lifesteal swing with like the Altered Chord or whatever it's called. That's about it. And overall, yeah, I think it's a decent card with the right support, and it literally has none of that at the moment. At number 2, we have the last Demon Hunter card on the list, card that scared the crap out of me. I still think it could be problematic down the road, is Mind Bender, a 4-mana 4/4 minion. Battle Cry, deal 1 damage for each card you have drawn this turn. It is in 0.1% of decks, has a deck win rate of 37.7%, and has been played 860 times. This is like your big burst finisher for this like draw deck, and its played win rate is less than 50%. So when you're a kind of a finisher style card and you're not even helping elevate the deck to like a, it's just bad, mainly because it's too expensive. There's not that much card draw in Standard for Demon Hunter, although there's a lot, including the Sigil of Time, but more importantly, like Brand Bronzebeard's not around to abuse this, right? So it could push some damage, but not nearly enough, and not enough to elevate that deck to a possible even close to winning percentage, and as a result, it's number 2. And at number 1, we have the last Shaman card on the list, the Infested Watcher, a 4-mana 4/4 taunt, death rattle, get 2 chaotic tendrils. It is in 0.09% of decks, a deck win rate of 37%, and played 1,200 times. You get to see any of these cards that are expensive, they have to give you tendrils, are not great. Tendrils on their own are not fantastic. You need a lot of them. It's basically Yogg or bust, right? The only other tendril card that's seeing relatively good positive play is the 2-mana spell for Rogue, because it's 2-mana deal 3. That's good. And you get a tendril. Why not? That's just a good card. Infested Watcher, a 4-mana 4/4 taunt. Today's game not great, and the reward also not up there. And also, what shaman deck does it go into? It doesn't work really with anything. Although, again, I will say, pretty good arena pick. You get this in arena, usually not too upset unless the tendrils absolutely backfire. So those are statistically the top 10 worst cards from the latest mini set. Let me know what you guys agree with, disagree with. What do you think the worst card is so far? And tomorrow, I think we're going to be talking about one card that is kind of destroying the game in Standard and Wild, and it is from this mini set. It's pretty darn broken, and yeah, we'll be chatting about that tomorrow. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day, and stay salty, my friends.